Let's put our palms together and request Shifu to start today's class.
Okay, let us first begin with a few minutes of silent meditation. Okay, everyone, this is the last class, the 8th class of this course, and I hope to do one of these 8-week courses on stories of the great Zen Masters every year. So we'll definitely come back to them again. Now, last week we looked at topic 4, which is stray paths. And I prepared 3 stories there, of which we only went through 2 of them. One is child prodigy, and the other was the wild fox Zen. I'm sure you still have a good impression of that. The third one, vomit for 30 years, it is a little bit involved, and I don't think I want to spend the time on it. So I will leave that as an exercise for you. So today we'll look at the last topic in this session, which is number 5. And I changed it from my plans. So this new topic is called Dharma comebacks. This is where 2 masters will get at each other in their Dharma discussion or testing each other with their Zen understanding. Okay, so it's quite interesting. Now, before we start, I want to pose these questions for you to consider. One, are you afraid to disagree with a friend or coworker? How do you handle this kind of situations? And related, what if the other person is deliberately provoking you? And is it more important to get to the truth or to maintain harmony? Often we choose not to argue or not to express what I think is the truth to maintain peace. So, what is more important? And what conditions are needed to disagree and argue, even, yet remain on good terms with someone? Yeah, and so we are going to see quite a few numbers in these Dharma comebacks that often take place with Zen Masters. Okay. All right. So the first story here, I prepare 3 stories too, and I hope we'll get through to them. First story is layman Pan Yun. Pan Yun. Now he is a famous awakened lay person. So this story is pretty well known. One day, while sitting in his hermitage, so his family lived in a very simple household, his hermitage. So the whole family, he and his wife and his daughter, the 3 of them, they live a simple life in the planting their own vegetables. And layman Pan, he one day suddenly exclaimed, "Difficult, difficult, so difficult. It is like spreading 10 baskets of sesame seeds on a tree." So often in these Zen dialogues, there's not a clear subject what they're talking about, but that's okay. Just remember, they are recorded or written down, taking out all the branches, and always about the Zen practice. So, layman Pan is referring to the Zen practice. It is so difficult, he said, like spreading sesame seeds on a tree. And his wife, when she heard it, Lady Pan, she responded, "No, no, 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 it's easy. It's easy, it's so easy. The patriarch's meaning is on the tip of every blade of grass." So the patriarch, of course, they are called patriarchs because they are a great master and they understood the essence of the Buddha's teaching and they pass it down for future generations. Right? So the first 6 in the lineage in the Chinese Zen history, they are called the patriarchs. The 6 first is Bodhidharma, second is Huike, and the 6th is Huinan. And after the 6th patriarch, we don't call them patriarchs anymore. So the patriarch's meaning the very essence of the Buddha's teaching, the very essence of enlightenment, is on the tip of every blade of grass. In other words, it is possible to discover it anywhere. All right, so that seems to be a direct contradiction. And now their daughter said, the daughter's name is Ling Zhao. She added, "Neither difficult nor easy. When hungry, eat. When tired, sleep." So we have seen this story before, right? A master earlier have expressed exact words. What is the Zen practice? When hungry, you eat. When tired, you sleep. Okay, so that's the story. Now, the family of three, they are all diligent practitioners. In fact, it is said that all three of them are awakened. But they express three different views. One says so difficult, like spreading sesame seed on the tree. Of course, the idea is you're going to collect it later. Yeah. And the wife says, no, you can find it anywhere. And Lin Zhao says, it's neither difficult nor easy. It is what it is. So what do you think? What do you think? How can three of them all having been awakened express such different views? Is that okay? Is it okay for two people who have clear and true understanding of a situation or phenomena, and yet they talk about it in what seems to be contradictory, very different perspectives? Is it possible? Yes, I would say it is quite possible. In fact, that may be the norm, that you can see a situation, a phenomena, from what seems like different perspectives, and yet they all express a truth about the situation. So we can think about, how is it that the practice is difficult? Yeah, why is it difficult? Well, certainly is, right? Because it's so easy to lose mindfulness. It's so easy to be caught up in our conscious judging mind, because we have such a habit of doing that, right? So in meditation, one can easily lose moments where you forget what you're doing. Now, in what sense then is the spiritual practice, the practice, easy? So Lady Pan's perspective was that, well, something can trigger you to remind you, let's say, the practice. Any small thing could. So have you ever, say, seen something about nature, something quite ordinary? Maybe you go hiking, maybe you're just taking a walk, and then you see something, you notice something, and then it gives you insight. Does that ever happen? I'm sure it happens. And if you can quiet your mind, if you get used to quieting your mind, having a calm and still and clear and present mind, this will probably happen more often. It is almost like everything in nature is teaching the Dharma, is teaching something about the truth, the true reality of life. Would you say that? Would you agree? So in a way, it is so easy, right? But we also know that in order to have those insights, in order to listen, to be able to listen and understand what nature is teaching us, you need to have a mind or ear that is open to it, right? So is it easy or is it difficult? Now the daughter, very matter-of-factly says, you guys are making, what what, why are you making such a fuss? Yeah, she doesn't get involved in the, in the issue of whether it's difficult or easy. She said, you just do what should be done at this moment. You just do what you should be doing, what should be done at each moment. That's all. Life is neither easy nor hard. The practice to enlightenment is neither easy or hard. Now, what do you think? Do you think that each of them has a point? Yeah? And are they actually disagreeing with each other or not? So one says it's difficult and one says it is easy. And one says it's neither difficult nor easy. Are they actually arguing or not? Can you see that while what they say seems to be very different, they are actually not saying you are wrong. So the wife is not saying the husband is wrong. The daughter is not actually saying that her parents are wrong, but rather they're presenting a different perspective. And that's okay, isn't it? Even better. Yes? So next time when we argue with somebody, when we feel the need, the urge to argue with somebody about a certain issue, when we have a different point of view, maybe we should remember this story and see that perhaps what the other person is saying is just a different way to look at this, and not actually saying that one of you is wrong. Right? Okay, let us look at the second story. The second story is about Master Changsha Jingcen. Now, we encountered this master previously in the story called Be a Donkey and a Horse. Remember that? Donkey and the Horse story? Okay, that was from Changsha, Master Changsha Jingcen. So this is actually, so this involves two masters. While Master Changsha Jingcen and another master, Yang Shan. Now, Master Yang Shan is also very famous. In fact, Master Yang Shan and his Shifu, Master Gui Shan, they are the founders of one of the 5 houses of Zen in Chinese, Chan Buddhism. One of the 5 houses of Chan called the Gui Yang, to take from Master Gui Shan and Master Yang Shan. Okay, so this is Yang Shan, the junior one. But both of them are enlightened masters. So they happened to be together in a monastery one night, and it was a nice evening. So they were looking at the moon, probably drinking some tea. So suddenly Yang Shan said, everyone possesses this, but they just can't use it. Notice there's no explicit reference to what this is, the subject is, but just remember they're always talking about, almost always talking about that which is the most essential thing. So Yang San said, everyone possesses this, but they just can't use it. All right, what is it that everybody has, but they don't know how to use well? Yeah, that's what he's talking about. Everybody has it, but they just don't know how to use it. or they don't know how to use it well. They don't know how to use it right. So when we look at our life, it's difficult. A lot of times it's difficult, and life is not easy. A lot of challenges, and we can get frustrated. We can feel hurt or fearful, and so on. That means we're not using this in the right way. So everyone has this, but they just can't use it. So Master Jingchen immediately knew what Yang San was talking about. So he followed up and said, precisely. Now show me how you use it. Yeah. So you say nobody know how to use it, so you must know, right? Well, show me. Show me how you use it. And Yang San said, so he avoided. He said, how do you use it? Right? So they want to sort of test each other. How do you use it? Now, what did Jingchen did? He just stood up, knocked Yang San over with his foot. So in those days, in the Tang Dynasty in China, we didn't have these chairs or stools. People didn't sit on chairs. Right? They often just sit on the floor. Well, there's most likely a bamboo sheet or something on the floor, so they would sit there, and the table would be relatively low, right? So they sit on the floor, on a low table. There would be food or fruits or tea or water. So he must have gotten up and then knocked Master Yang San down with his foot. Now that seemed like picking a fight, right? But that's his way of showing how I use mine. So Yang San exclaimed, what are you, a tiger? Meaning, what are you, a beast? What are you, an animal? What are you, a tiger? From then on, the Chan community called Master Jingchen Chen Tiger, Chen Dachong. So the exchanges between masters, Chan masters, sometimes can get even physical. Often it gets even physical. And then if you're not initiated, you may think that they're getting into a fight or they're getting violent with each other. But actually, no. That's all part of the, shall we say, expressing how I use it. All right? So even though Yang San exclaimed, what are you, a tiger? We can imagine that he was not upset. Okay, it's not like two boys fighting to see who's stronger. It's nothing about that. But it's more about seeing your understanding being expressed or being affirmed. In other words, the awakened Zen masters, they would know what is going on. They will know what is going on in the sense that what is the essence, and sometimes how do you express that? How do you use that? How do you live your life in a way that is in accord with the truth, with the awakened mind? So you can be sure and not to worry that they are not fighting, with each other, but rather they would even be happy that they know what they're doing. I know what you're doing, you know what I'm doing. Okay? After all, it will be a joy to be around, for an awakened master to be around another awakened master. Now, I want to make a comment that it is, don't think that awakened masters are all on the same level. It's like, let's say, two mathematicians, they both understood this difficult math theorem, this math principle. That doesn't mean they can use the same principle equally well. Yeah, when Einstein came up with the equation E equals mc squared, on the surface, well, it's a profound equation. Now, on the surface, it simply says that mass and energy can be exchanged. There's an equivalence can be exchanged via a constant called a square of the speed of light. But if you understand more deeply, you would know that, hey, E equals mc squared is amazing. It means, possibly, it means that mass can be turned into energy, or energy could be turned into mass. And then somebody figured out how to go from this basic principle, equals mc squared, to create something called the atomic bomb. Or, similarly, it says that it's possible to have fusion reactor. So these are profound applications. So just because we have awakened doesn't mean we are equally skillful in applying that incredible insight, that understanding, to help others, or to help yourself to live your life. Okay, so that's why the Zen Masters, they often like to test each other or play with each other. From those playing, from this testing, from these Dharma compacts, one of them can learn from the other, or both can learn from each other. Okay, it's like a powerful tool has 1,000 applications. Somebody has mastered 100 of them, another person has mastered another 150 of them, and they can certainly learn from each other. Okay. All right, let's look at the third story. This story, okay, again involves two Chan masters. Now, in the previous story and in this story, both, we see that these two masters, they are both awakened. Yet they come from a different lineage, so their shifus are different, and they are not from the same monastery. But often there's a lot of traveling in those times. They travel to different monasteries and to meet other masters, and then to practice or learn from each other, or to test each other. So this is about Shitou Xiqian, who is a second generation disciple from the sixth patriarch, and Deng Yifeng, who is a third generation disciple from the third patriarch, but they are from different shifus. Okay. Okay, so the story is called Hold This and Hold That. Master Shitou, Shitou literally means a rock. He was called Master Rock because where his monastery is, there was a huge rock outside the monastery, and he often liked to sit on top of the rock, and meditate. So over time, people started calling him Master Shitou. Right. Master Shitou was weeding, so they are taking out weeds, most likely in their vegetable garden, while Master Deng Yifeng stood to his left with hands clasped, holding his hands. So with your hand clasped, that is kind of a casual way of greeting. Now, so Deng Yifeng looks like he wasn't really helping with the chore. He just standing there. So Master Shitou flung his hoe, his tool, to take out the weed in front of Deng, to uproot a weed, to take out a weed in front of him. This could be viewed as a challenge or a prompt for you to respond, to react. Okay, and so the Chan masters, they will try to incite the reactions on each other in order to test or to see your understanding of the way, or the way. All right, so he did that, and Master Deng said, "Venerable, you can hold this, but you cannot hold that." Again, there's no explicit reference to the subject. What is this and what is that? Yeah, so that's why a lot of these stories sounds like it seems puzzling. Venerable can hold this, but you cannot hold that. That's what he said. So the other person would need to understand what he's referring to. Now, Shitou, then he reacted by picking up the hoe. He picked up the hoe, making a gesture, and Master Deng, the other master, he took it. He took the hoe, the physical tool, and made a motion of hoeing weeds. But he actually wasn't doing it. Remember, Shitou, he took out a weed in front of Deng. Deng then took his hoe and made a gesture of taking out a weed, but he actually didn't do it. He was doing it in air. Then Shitou said, "Well, you can hold that. You have to hold this." And Master Deng had no reply. Now, having no reply usually means he lost. He doesn't know how to react to that. Okay, not always, but then usually. Now, this takes a little bit of. Let me just say a few words about this story. Hoeing weeds, taking out weed. Now, this is a common work in a Chan monastery. Yeah, because the Chan masters were the first ones to start a vegetable garden in a monastery. So often they would eat their own food, their own veggies. So it's they were doing farm to table a long time ago. So now this is a common type of chore in a monastery, but it is also often used as a metaphor for removing one's defilements from the mind. So what are the defilements? We talked about this in the story of ordinary mind, remember? So greed, anger, those thoughts, those views that make you cling to things or make you dislike certain situations or certain people. These are called the defilements or contaminants. They pollute your mind and make you unable to see the truth and be free. So removing weed from your vegetable garden is a metaphor for removing one's defilements from the mind. Your mind is the vegetable garden. And you want the vegetables to grow well. You want to have these good thoughts, beneficial thoughts. You need to take out the weed. Okay? So when So then was the one, okay, so Master Shito first saw that Deng was standing there, not doing anything, so he picked up the hoe and then was taking out the weed in front of him. Now, what does that mean? Well, you can have your own interpretation. So that's the thing with these Zen stories. Often you can have different interpretations, and there are no standard answers, right? But let's say, for example, let's say, hey, why don't you help? Why don't you help? So I'll take out a wheat in front of you. Maybe. So maybe Shito was saying, hey, what is it with you? Why don't you do something? Now, physically, it would be like, why don't you help me take out the wheat? But then spiritually, what would it be? So spiritually, remember the metaphor of taking out weed. So spiritually, maybe Shito, maybe Shito is saying, hey, are you taking out defilements from your mind? Are you working on your practice? Are you being mindful? Or are you just being lazy? Is your mind there in the present moment? Or is your mind scattered around? Now that's an important issue, right? For the serious cultivator, serious practitioner. Every moment, where is your mind? Is it doing what it should be doing? Yeah? So, are you weeding? Are you hoeing weed? Maybe that's what he means. So he started this conversation with this gesture. So what does Den say? Den said, Venerable can hold this, but cannot hold that. Now, this is definitely a challenge, a retort. Yeah? So Den would say, Master, you're telling me, are you suggesting that I'm not being mindful? I'm not doing, practicing the present mind? Are you suggesting that I should be weeding my mind, right? Taking weed out of my mind. But I'm challenging you too. While you know how to do this, you don't know how to do that. You can hold this weed, but you don't know how to hold that. So, what could that mean? Now, in the Buddhist practice, there's an idea of spiritual practice in stages. The first stage is you learn the practice, you learn the teaching, and then you try to work hard, right? And you examine your thoughts. Do you have greed? Or let me change that. Do I have anger? Or let me change that. It's like wiping the mirror to keep it clean, right? Wiping the mirror to keep it clean. So that seems like a very diligent practice. But then that's only the first stage, because at the second stage, you realize there's nothing to clean, because all phenomena are illusions. The emptiness of good and bad. So that's when you become liberated. So then maybe saying, Venerable, you know how to hold this, but you don't know how to hold that. You can do all the weeding you want, but you don't know that weeds are illusions. There's nothing to hold, no weed to take out. Do you understand emptiness? So you don't know how to hold that. Because emptiness, there's nothing to hold, there's nothing to weed. So what Den is saying is that I'm standing here not doing anything, but not doing anything is exactly what I should be doing, because good and bad are illusions. I'm just, I don't need to do anything. I don't need to do anything. Now, don't misunderstand this practice. To say that I don't need to do anything means that your mind is not clinging to anything. Okay? The mind is wu wei, or non-action. The non-action is profound. As long as our mind clings to something, when I have greed, I cling to, these good feelings, pleasures. When I have anger, I dislike, I reject, I push away certain things. Now, all of that is action, creates karma, right? And you have consequences. But for a good person, they will try to eliminate the clinging, to get rid of the clinging. Yeah? So we work hard to change our thoughts from bad thoughts to good thoughts, from hating people to being kind to people, and so on. But that's the preliminary practice. It's hoeing weed, taking out weed. Is wiping the mirror to always keep it clean. But then the second stage is all empty. The dust that fall on the mirror is empty. So there's nothing to do. If our mind does not cling to any situation, then there's no practice to speak of. Yeah? No practice is the right practice. That's what then mean by holding that. You cannot hold that. But that's one interpretation. Okay, so that is a big challenge. How does Master Shito react to that? Shito picked up the hoe and then took it and made a motion of holding weeds, but without actually doing it. That may be saying, hey, I know how to do this, but I don't need to. He made a gesture in the air. I know how to do this, but I don't need to, because there's no need. Bad karma is empty. Good karma is empty. Now, what does Master Shito said? He said, while you can hold that, you don't know how to hold this. So, when Den first said that you can hold this, but you cannot hold that. Yeah, you can do all the hard work as you want, but you don't know about the emptiness, the instant liberation. As long as your mind does not cling to anything, doesn't take anything to be real, you are already liberated. That's the certain awakening, certain enlightenment. So you don't know how to do that. That was a challenge. But Shito, actually, he knows that very well. But then he says, okay, maybe you know how to do that, but you don't know how to do this. What is this now? This is taking out weed, right? But then when Shito says it at the end, it's different. The first stage was working hard, preliminary practice. Second stage, you realize emptiness and you are awakened. But then there's a third stage. The third stage, you enter the world. You do all the work again. Why? Because there's work need to be done. Who is cooking the rice? Who is making the bread? Yeah, you still need to go back to this present reality, this phenomenal world. And yet now, compared to before in the first stage. In the first stage, whatever we do, we always cling. We cling to good things and we reject the bad things. We always cling. And so we work hard to not cling, right? And at some point, you realize emptiness. Oh, there's nothing to cling to. But then you'll go back to doing the things that you were doing before. Eating, sleeping, working, talking, cleaning, planting vegetables. You go back to all the things you do before. But now your mindset is very different. Why? That's the Bodhisattva practice. It is a practice. I go back to this world, I do all the things along with all of you guys and everybody in order to set an example of living life in an ordinary way without clinging, without attachment. So your mind is free. But you don't reject any action. You don't reject any situation. You don't try to avoid anything. Neither liking nor disliking. So your mind is always free. So that's what Shito is saying. Okay, you may know how to hold that. You may know emptiness, but can you come out of that emptiness? And go back to the ordinary world and show people, show everyone how to become enlightened. So that is why Master Deng had no reply, because he knows that he's not good at it yet. And Shito is better in that regard. Okay, so does that make sense? Well, let me emphasize that is interpretation. There's no right interpretation. You can study the story and then come to your own insights too. All right. Okay, so that's the 3 story we have for this topic. And being the last class in this course for now, let us look at again, Shifu prepared a bunch of discussion questions for you. And in a few minutes, at 8 o'clock, in 6 minutes, we're going to discuss question number 2 and number 4. But let's look at this a little bit. Attachment, number 1. What does Layman Pan's statement about spreading sesame seeds on a tree reveal about the nature of mind and its attachments? Yeah? Our mind, would you say our mind is always attached to something or very easily attached to something? And therefore, to not cling to anything is so difficult, like spreading sesame seeds carefully on the tree without dropping anyone. Okay, that's kind of like the imagery. Be very careful not to let your mind cling to anything at all. Okay, the second question, difficulty. Reflect on a time in your life when some things seemed difficult at first, but later became easy. What changed in your perspective or approach? I'm sure all of you have experiences like that. At first, you thought that was really hard. And then later, at some point, you find, oh, piece of cake, easy. What happened? What was the transformation? What made you think it was hard? And then why is it easy now? So let's talk about this. Share with each other your experiences in our breakout room, okay? Number 3, simplicity. the daughter Ling Zhao said, when hungry, eat, when tired, sleep. How can you incorporate this simplicity into your daily life? What complicates your life unnecessarily? I think that's a good discussion question, but we're going to look at number 4 today. Number 2 and number 4. Number 4, grass tip. How does Lady Pan's reference to the patriarch's meaning on the tips of grasses reflect the Zen emphasis on everyday moments and the ordinary as a path to enlightenment? The ordinary moments can be a trigger to your path to enlightenment. Do you have such moments that you can share with us? Ordinary things, maybe you experience many times, but at this time, certainly it brings you some insight. You realize something. Oh, that's really nice. I never thought about that. Do you have such moments of discovering something profound in ordinary things? So let's share your experiences, right? So number 2 and number 4 is what we're going to discuss. Okay, and then look at these discussion questions yourself, and then the contemplation questions, you can look at it yourself. But I do want to get to the exercises. So today we actually have a lot of exercises. Why? Because this is the last course, and so this is kind of us collecting together all the things, all the different exercises that we have given you in this course. Yeah, the exercises are not meant for you to do once or twice or 1 week or 2 weeks, but I would encourage you to pick some of these exercises that resonate with you, and then go far with it. Be consistent and go far with it. All right. So, for example, mindful eating. We talked about this before. Practice eating a meal in complete silence, focusing on each bite. Notice flavors, textures, smells without judgment. So you notice them clearly without judgment, without liking or dislike. Just directly experience that moment. Reflect on Ling Zhao's words, when hungry, eat. How does this practice change your relationship with food? Exercise 1, exercise 2, walking meditation with 2 kinds of walking meditation. 1, take a slow, mindful walk, focusing on the sensations of your feet on the ground and the movement of your body. So you're taking a walk, maybe in the park, maybe outside, but don't look at the sights. Just focusing on the bodily sensations each moment. And another way to do walking meditation, number 2, is take a walk in nature and practice seeing the patriarch's meaning on every blade of grass, as Lady Pan suggests. Reflect on how the ordinary can be a gateway to deeper spiritual insights. Yeah. So when we discuss this, and then we can reflect on it, and in our walking meditation practice, see if you can notice something as you walk, something ordinary, but it's giving you a Dharma talk. Yeah, nature giving us a Dharma talk. Number 4, koan contemplation. Reflect on one of the stories, koans, from the course material, allowing your mind to grapple with its meaning without seeking a logical solution. I don't want a logical explanation. Okay, so it is kind of different. When we go to school, we take a course, we learn something, we try to figure out the reasoning, right? Why this and why that, and so on. But no, here it's not about logic. It's about, how does it overthrow my understanding of something? And then what is the insight there? Okay, so the koan contemplation is a very different way of practice, invented by the Chinese Zen Masters. Okay, number 5, non-dual awareness. Throughout the day, notice when you are caught in dualistic thinking, for example, good and bad, or fixated on good and bad. Pause and try to see the situation from a non-dual perspective. For example, you know that you're right about something, but you're having a talk with somebody else who disagree with you. Now, instead of trying to prove the other person wrong, see if you can look at the situation from a non-dualistic way. Number 6, Chan humor. Spend a day observing the absurdities and humor in everyday life. Write down 3 instances where you found humor in situations that might otherwise have been frustrating. This is a good practice. When you're frustrated about something, step back and say, there's something humorous about this. How does this practice affect your mood and outlook? Yeah? Okay, 7, 8, 9. Let's stop here, but instead go to our breakout room. All right, so remember the 2 discussion questions. One is, number 2, reflect on an experience you had that things you thought it was difficult, and then later you found easy. What was the difference? What was the key that made it from difficult to easy? Yeah. And number 4, grass tip. How is it that you can learn something from very ordinary phenomena or situations? Okay, so let's start. We'll end at 8:30, 25 minutes from now. Okay, those of you who are not in the breakout room, please click join, or you should be able to just pick a breakout room to join too, I believe. Okay, good, everyone is in. Okay. Oh, with some big groups. Good. Spotty. And I think that's the Bay Area 2. 好，那我们应该so I think all of us are back now. All of us are back. So I hope you had a fruitful discussion. And let us cherish the opportunity for this method of online class. I think mostly went well. We got to hear each other's insights and experiences. Hopefully, make some friends too. All right, so let's take some time to share. Anybody want to share the things you discussed in class, in the breakout room?
Shifu Amitofo. I first want to just say thank you for organizing this class. It was very fascinating for me, and also I learned a lot from the other participants. So the format was very good. Um, in the class or in the breakout rooms, we all shared our experiences. I shared that in my life, the things that I found difficult that became easier involve my professional training as as a doctor. In the beginning, learning the subject matter and how to apply in the care of patients was daunting. We are dealing with very serious health conditions. We don't want to make mistakes, especially me. And I always try to do everything very carefully. So I was afraid of making mistakes. But as I gained more practice, and then it became easier. And I think once I knew that I was skillful enough to help patients to get better, and I could see the results of the treatments, it gave me more confidence. And so that was just one example of overcoming the uncertainty and having people to learn from. It makes a good benefit for in my life.
Okay, so Sudhakar experience was that diagnosing patients with serious illness is daunting, but then seeing the result through experience, so experience and seeing the result. So the result of your diagnosis and treatment is cause and effect, right? So seeing that you are following the right cause and effect will give us confidence. Yes, very good. Anybody else would like to share?
师父阿弥陀佛，传白刚刚在会上讨论的时候呢，还有一半
Speak English.
because my English is not very well, and if I express in English, I think that it might spend many times. So I think that I may speak Chinese, and then somebody can translate for me.
Okay.
Okay. 我是想说at first we don't have any expectation. Then what can see at the moment what we can do. Then maybe we will think that things may be so difficult for us. And then very important is that today's story about the whole. Yes, Master Dan, she can hold that, but Shito said that you cannot hold this. What does it mean? You hold your mind, but you don't have a reality of the world. So how we can master our mind and also the reality can complete. So 并不是说你无所住和生其心，是要能够生其心，也是 you must make things true. So don't have any expectation, but you have to think at this moment what you can do.
Okay, good. So it's easy to fall into a trap in Zen practice to say, oh, everything is illusion, I don't need to do anything. But the Zen master Shito's point is that if you think that you don't need to do anything, you don't do anything, that's actually another form of attachment, right? So it is not an expression of the real mind, the true mind either. Okay? All right, somebody else would like to share?
Amitabha Shifu, for the first question on the difficulty, my team described challenges with an ongoing disease. And, instead of spending time and wailing in self-pity, actually redirecting the focus to cherish each moment and see how you can help others. We talked about like how things like driving, family life, even meditation seemed to be very difficult at the beginning, but gradually with practice, kind of like building a muscle, starting to get easier, and we can lift more weight, more capacity each time. And also like one person also explained about having to chant the Heart Sutra while playing the Dharma instruments along with it. Seemed like really tough at the beginning, but now it happens naturally. For the second question on the grass tips and glimpses in enlightenment, we talked about how impermanence in nature, right? The changing seasons, seeing our gardens grow, flourish, and then fade, become compost, and again come back, gives us an insight into impermanence, emptiness, interdependence. We also talked about emotions, how they come and go, how conflicts come and happen, and how in hindsight, you realize the emptiness of all views because things change, people change, we change. And yeah, and we also covered the third question on simplicity and how we're overcomplicating matters. And all of us agreed that overthinking just makes everything complex, and striving for perfection and hoping to control others is also just overcomplicates things. We need to really focus inward and do whatever we can at the moment. Thank you.
Okay, that was a great summary of the discussion in both questions. I just want to quickly share a picture of our garden. So Sifu just got back to Prajna Forest Monastery yesterday, and these fava beans are growing really well. They used to be little tiny sprouts last time I was here. So yes, our cultivation does make a difference. Okay. All right, yes, keep going.
Amitabha Shifu. Our group had a very good discussion. So for the first question, we talked about mental resistance is what's making every project hard. From using metronome when practicing piano to taking the challenges of dealing with cancer. So one member said that she had a hard time dealing with mean friends making mean comments. But when she put herself in her friend's shoes and realized what the friend was going through, it made it a lot easier to accept her. And then another person shared that she got a job at a university and they were building a new museum. And to bring that museum to life, she had to do a lot of fundraising. And for her, it's very challenging because, she thought she had no experience. So she's not good at public speaking. But then she had a change of thought. And she was thinking like, what is my intent? It is not about me. It is about building this museum that's going to benefit the community, that's going to educate a lot of kids. So she took herself out of the picture, out of the equation. And then, so she did more than 100 fundraising activities a year. So she did a fabulous job in the end. Another person shared that she had a very rare cancer. There was not much treatments for this cancer. So at first she had a lot of fear, but then she again had a change of thought. And she thought, what would a Bodhisattva do? Why can't I be the Bodhisattva? And instead of being fearful for my own future, maybe I can use myself as the tool for medical tests. Maybe that result would help other people in the future. So with that change of mind, she had a very joyful attitude. And in the second year, I think that, after going through many unsuccessful treatment, something helped, and her situation is improving. So we are very happy for her. And coming to the fourth question, and our group find that instead of looking for joy or happiness far away, instead of looking for something in the future, just turn the attention to the present and be mindful. And if you're mindful, you can find out a lot of little things that you can be happy about. Thank you. Amitabha.
Okay, excellent sharing. And I think one thing that you said, that Hong said, that stood out was when you take yourself out of the picture. Yeah. So the lady that did the fundraising is, for somebody who is not used to that, it is so scary. But when you focus on what you need to do, and you are not, the condition, then all of a sudden becomes doable, even become easy. That's quite an insight. That's really good. All right, take yourself out of the picture and just focus on what needs to be done. All right, anybody else?
Shifu, Amitabha, everybody. I would like to give a brief summary of what we have been doing in our group. Number one, concerning the difficulty, we have a number of very good input and feedback on this one. Just give you one example. Somehow when we take up any responsibility or mission or task, where we take a different perspective or different approach, things will improve. Probably you try to divide the event or the task into several segments. Initially, probably you have certain expectation, and in the middle you experience challenges and difficulties. But as long as you can go in perfection, practice makes perfect. So in other words, in the end, that you become a master of a language skill or riding a bicycle because you practice on a daily basis. And the other approach that you could take as one of the members offer to us is that, you try to think it from a different perspective. For instance, if you have to do exercise in the gym for 1 hour, which is a long time, but if you, just have to be persistent and continue to doing it, then you use deduction, the method of deduction. After 20 minutes, you have only 40 minutes. After 30 minutes, you have only another 30 minutes. So in other words, on this magic and logic of deduction, then you get it done. But the thing is that you have to be persist. So the second one about simplicity, one of our members mentioned that it's really important that mind is not to be fixated, not to be attached, but rather live in the present moment. Things will become easier. There are many examples about, falling into sleep in the classroom, but how this issue can be resolved. It's not just about, you're tired and you sleep, and you have to judge the content. But some of our feedback is if you want to sleep, you go back to sleep instead of stay in the classroom, and so on and so forth. So that's the simplicity. But finally, I think the most important lessons that we learn from our discussion is, number one, we don't set up a kind of confrontation between the self and the other, or the self and the task that you are trying to do, or the environment you are trying to do, that in this, totally kind of flow and union, and probably living in the present moment, you will be able to return to your mind and to yourself. And, what you have to do is to be living in the present moment and to be persistent. So that's the conclusion. Thank you.
Okay, good. So I thought that the story about the thinking about doing an hour of exercise was really good. For somebody like me, like Shifu, who doesn't like to exercise, instead of thinking, like the way that he thinks about it is, okay, I only have 40 minutes to go, I only have 30 minutes to go, I only have 20 minutes to go. So at first it's really tiring, but then the body is amazing. When you get used to it, when you are intent on it, then eventually becomes easy. Yeah. And also the part about just focus on the present. Yeah, we know that we say that all the time, but then we probably, all of you have heard of when you're doing a complicated task, breaking into small parts, right? Each part is a lot simpler. Now, what would be the ultimate of that? The ultimate of that would be just focus on the present moment, right? That's the ultimate breaking down. So think about that. All right. So our time is almost up. So before we end the class, I just want to say a couple things. Thank you all for participating throughout the 8 weeks. And I thought the format was a new thing we tried, and it seems to work better and better now. I hope you enjoy that, and we'll certainly try that again. And also, so the key is that not only that we can learn from Shifu or from the teaching, but we can learn a lot from each other. Yeah, the very fact that we listen to some teaching and then we all have different interpretations actually can be a plus. Yeah, and then how we apply, what kind of insight it give us, how can we apply in life? We'll open our mind to how other people apply and think about it, right? All right. Shifu has moved to Prajna Forest Monastery now, so that's why I'm living. I just got back yesterday. I plan to stay here for quite a while, so I'm back in California. And I will be going into a 7-week-long solitary retreat starting March 8th. So I encourage you. Shifu has said before that we will have the month of April as a meditation month. Now, not everybody can have that long, but then I encourage you to set forth a schedule of a little bit of more meditation and follow it through for the month of April. So that'll be your meditation month. Okay, so do it with Shifu together, and we'll make progress. Okay, what else? Shifu is going to Oklahoma tomorrow, very early morning. I know some of you are from Oklahoma, Debbie.
Yay!
Yay!
See you on Saturday.
Yes, we'll see you on Saturday. There's a Oklahoma Buddhism conference. Amazingly, those of you who are in a different state, think about that. How
If Oklahoma can do it, anybody can do it, right?
Yes, if Oklahoma can do it, every state can do it. So organize a Buddhist conference in your state. Well, of course, we need some help. Like if it's in a school, university, you need professors and you need a Buddhist club to help. But think about it. If Oklahoma can do it, yeah. So Shifu will be there to give a talk on how the 4 foundations of mindfulness leads to Bodhisattva practice. Those of you who has been following Shifu's half-day meditation retreat, you know that is true. Okay, so that's Oklahoma. When I come back, it will be just a few days before I go into the retreat. All right, and so our construction at the site is ongoing. I saw some of the workers, they're working pretty hard, and it's going smoothly. But you know, as things get going, we find out more and more things we need to do on the site. You know, today, you know, they fixed this foundation, and they found out this need to be done and that need to be done, and that seems to happen every week. So that's just the way it is. We just accept it. So we are expecting the construction to be completed, the first phase to be completed by the end of June, all right, by June. All right, so hopefully by July or August, we can really welcome you to visit the monastery. It'll be really nice. Okay. But meanwhile, if you live nearby, you're welcome to come here to be volunteers. Okay. So what else? Oh, let us look at. Just take a couple minutes. Let's look at the last 3 exercises that we didn't get to, which is mindfulness of daily activities. Spend a week paying close attention to the simplest activities in your daily life, such as eating, sleeping, walking. Reflect on how these moments can be a path to mindfulness enlightenment. So that's related to the discussion question number 4 that we talked about, right? Holding meditation, if possible, engage in gardening or weeding as a form of meditation. Reflect on the process of clearing the mind while attending to the garden. Now we do have our garden group here in the class. It'd be perfect for you. Drawing parallels between the two. Finally, simplifying your practice. For 1 month, simplify your spiritual practice to the basics. Eating mindfully, sleeping well, and meditating without additional complications. Reflect on how this simplicity affects your overall sense of peace and clarity. Okay, so we do have a lot more material that I am processing for future classes. Yeah. So I don't know what's the next class I will offer in English. Probably the second half of the year, hopefully. Anyway, we'll see. So continue with us. We'll put out some more stuff online, and the mindfulness or Dharma half-day meditation videos will be put out one by one. Okay. All right. So finally, I encourage you to write some words about what you learned in this class, what kind of insights, what you like or don't like about the class. Send it to zenclass@pdzen.org or share on WhatsApp community. So we'll have volunteers collecting them, and we can summarize some of that in our newsletter. So our newsletter for March will come up tomorrow or the day after. Watch out for that. If you have not joined our follower group, please do. Okay, so that is it. And I quite like this format, short and sweet. And we can explore different topics. So hopefully you like it too. And I hope you make some friends. Remember, it's not small condition that we are together. We are together here from different places, You know, maybe eons later, many lifetimes later, we'll see each other as bodhisattvas and waiting to become Buddhas. You know, say, oh, I know you from hundreds of lifetimes ago. And we'll certainly meet each other again, okay? All right, so finally, let us conclude. Did I forget anything? Our TAs, is there anything else I need to mention? All right, I see a few chats. Okay, somebody asked PayPal or Venmo an option. I think we do have PayPal. We have Zelle. I don't think we set up a Venmo account yet, right? Okay. Is Shifu's monastery in Northern California? Yes, it's near Santa Cruz. It's about 25 minutes from Santa Cruz. It's called Ben Lomond. Ben Lomond is a small town. Beautiful place. Come visit in July or August. Okay, so that's it. Let us do our dedication. Let us put our palms together and quickly go through all the 8 weeks we spent together, and let us make a personal dedication first. Okay, may the merits of our studying the Dharma and practicing the Dharma together be dedicated to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha around the world. We are so grateful to the Buddha and those great masters who preserved the Dharma throughout the ages. We're thankful to the present Sangha teachers who continue to bring us this wisdom. We are thankful to Grandmaster Weijie, who took me on this path to be a monk and to be a teacher. And we hope that many of you will, in the future, become Dharma teachers as well. But certainly, right now, you can spread the word and let others know about Prajna Dharma and our teachings. We dedicate merits to all of you. Those of you who have illness, may you recover soon. And those of you who are healthy, may you cherish every moment of our health. And may all sentient beings have their illness removed as well. And we also dedicated merits to everyone making progress on your spiritual practice and achieving enlightenment. And we hope that we'll have peace in the world and that the leaders around the world realize the importance of cooperation and thinking for each other, gaining the global view so that all humanity can benefit. Okay, so may the merits of our deed reach every part of the world. Sentient beings, large and small, all attain enlightenment. See you soon, next time.
Thank
you. Bye.
Amitofo.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you, Hong.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Take
it was very,
care.
very helpful.
Take
Thank you.
care. Take care. Okay, our TAs, what do you think?
Right.
Incredible.
Pretty good. Pretty good. So,
Great job, Shifu. Fantastic ending.
Yeah, thanks to all of you who worked hard every week to make things happen, to keep everyone together.